Alright, so number 10. As you can notice, there's another absolute value here. The only difference is that it's an inequality. So instead of an equal sign, we've got a greater than or equal to that we're working with there. Well, again, absolute value, same idea as we saw in the last problem, is the absolute value is the distance a number is from 0 on the number line. So again, that distance that's being traveled, maybe it's coming at 0, maybe we're measuring it from the positive side, right? Or could mean measuring that from the negative side. So since we have two possibilities, we have to represent that with our question. So you look at this, it looks like some extra stuff here, right? So we've got a 2 in front, there's a minus 10, right? Because if you looked back at the last problem, you'll notice the absolute value, it was by itself. So we need to do that. Before we can pull it apart, what we have to do is we have to isolate the absolute value. So we'll isolate the absolute value. And again, isolate means just to get by itself, right? So I've got two things I got to get rid of here. That minus 10, I'm going to have to add 10 to both sides. And so when I bring that down, I've still got a 2, so we're going to get rid of that next. 16 and 10 give us 26. Now, anytime you have two things next to each other like that, that means multiplication. So that says 2 times the absolute value. So the opposite of multiplying is to divide. And so we divide both sides by 2. And so we get the absolute value of 2x plus 3 greater than or equal to 13. Now that the absolute value is isolated, now I can solve. Now I can pull it apart. So again, got two ways that we're pulling this thing apart. We got the positive side that's going to stay exactly the same. Not going to do anything different with it. And then we got the negative side where we're switching the sign. We're taking the opposite. So what that would look like, the side that stays the same, 2x plus 3 greater than or equal to 13. And that 13, remember, stays the same. That stays a positive 13. And then on the left side, we've got 2x plus 3. And that positive 13 is going to turn into a negative 13. And here's one other thing that's going to change. Because this is an inequality, we have to switch the sign, or the symbol, inequality symbol as well. So that turns into a less than or equal to negative 13. Right? So, you know, we've said earlier on this test and seen earlier on this test is that with multiplying or dividing by a negative, you have to switch the inequality symbol. So though we haven't multiplied or divided by a negative, we're introducing a negative that then causes us to switch it. Alright, so let's subtract 3 from both sides. So we should be okay from here. And then we divide by 2. We get x less than or equal to negative 8. And on the other side, again, take away 3. Divide by 2, and so we're going to get x greater than or equal to 5. So those are our two answers. We want to put that on a number line. So we'll just kind of drop 0 here in the middle, count out to 5. That says x greater than or equal to 5. Greater means bigger, so it means all the numbers that are bigger than 5. Well, here's 5, and then to the right would be all the numbers that are bigger than 5. The other is negative 8, and that says all the numbers less than negative 8, so all the numbers smaller than negative 8. Well, numbers get smaller as you go to the left. Right, so you'd have a number line that would look like that. Alright, so this is the last problem. Go ahead and pause now and try number 10 on the right. Alright, so let's check and see what you had for number 10 on the right side. So it should have come up with x less than or equal to negative 5 and x greater than or equal to 4. Alright, well that wraps it up. Good work getting through the review here. Hopefully now you feel a lot better about taking the test. So we'll go ahead and stop the video now and go ahead and redo the test.